Welcome to Goofy Getaways with your hosts, Amy Blades and Amy Fisher.
Welcome to the Goofy Getaways podcast. We are extremely glad you're here. I am Amy Blades, CEO of Goofy Getaways.
And I'm Amy Fisher. I am our VP of Communication and Development. And like Amy Blades said, we are so excited to have you here for episode number 8, I think it is, of our podcast. Isn't that
I'm so
crazy?
excited too, because we're talking about something a little different today too.
We
so
are.
I'm super excited.
Little bit of a flip
Something
of the
different.
Conversation. So Amy, what are we talking to them about today?
Well, we're talking about one of my favorite things. We're talking about VIP tour, but we are talking about it at another one of our favorite destinations, which is Universal. But we are specifically talking about, like, Amy and I have done a VIP tour at Universal Hollywood, but today, I mean, we can kind of talk about both because really it's pretty similar. But we did an amazing VIP tour, which was exclusive for just us. So it was a private one at Universal Orlando. So I'm super excited to talk about that today because as far as VIP tours go, I love the product that Universal offers, and we will really dive into that. But yeah, I'm excited to talk. It was a really fun day too.
It was probably one of the best theme park days I've ever
Yeah.
had in my entire life. And obviously we go to the theme parks a lot. So just to help you understand a little bit better, when we talk about what is a VIP tour, so we're going to be talking specifically about the private VIP tour. This is available at Universal Orlando Resort. It's typically about a 7-hour long tour. It starts usually in the morning. It's going to let you go back and forth between the two parks. It includes many attractions. We'll talk about what all it includes through this, but it includes things like your food, all kinds of different behind the scenes experiences. So if you're looking for like the ultimate best day at Universal Orlando, this is why we want to talk to you about this topic today. So before we dive into the topic, though, I do, because we obviously have talked a lot about Disney on this podcast. Really quick, Amy, can you share with our listeners a little bit about the fact that we're a U-Preferred agency? What does that mean for people so they can understand why we're talking about something else?
Yeah. It's actually a really great honor to be able to be a U-Preferred agency through Universal. You guys hear us talk a lot about being authorized vacation planners through Disney. And so this is Universal's portion of that. So we have sales numbers that we have to hit. We have guidelines we have to hit. We have things we have to agree to. We work hand in hand with Universal, just like we do the other destinations. But it's really a kind of their stamp of approval, but it's also an honor to be recognized by them. And it's a lot of fun to talk about the product, because I know we do talk a lot about the other place too, which we all love. But I really do feel like the products are different. I swear by that. I'll still say it. They may be, your experiences are different at each destination, in my opinion, which is why I'm glad that we're talking about products that are offered that may be one place and another, but they're different. And we're gonna, But thank you for mentioning that, because we are a Silver U-Preferred agency, which is really exciting and official.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And with a piece of that too, all of our agents have to do annual training with Universal. So we stay really up to date on what's happening, because there's some big exciting things coming to Universal as well. We're not going to talk about it too much on this podcast, but Amy, what's coming to Universal in 2025?
It's going to be epic. Hey, Epic Universe. And even I'm excited about this because I'm not a super big fan of rides. I think we've talked about that a little bit too. But I'm super excited about just this whole new land, this whole new experience. So
yes, we'll talk about that more, hopefully on a later podcast episode for you all. But just know Epic Universe is coming May 2025. But we want to talk to you today specifically about the VIP tours at Universal Orlando Resort. Like Amy mentioned, we've done both coasts actually. And there's a lot of similarities between them, but we want to kind of focus in on Orlando for you all today. So Amy, tell us first about the tour types that exist at Universal Orlando.
Which I'm glad that you and I have had the opportunity to do each tour type. So even though we're talking about one park over the other, we have done a private VIP tour, and then we have also done non-private. So basically the difference is with a private tour, you are paying to have, and Amy, help me on this because it did, I believe, is it still 10 people or is it
It's up.
11?
It's if you have a
Oh,
private tour guide, it's up to 12. So as soon
12
as you
because
go
I was
beyond
counting
12,
myself.
yeah.
So
So
which
once
is
you
a
go
little
beyond
different.
12, it's
So
different.
yeah, just because we're real here, right? Like it's the real
Yeah.
deal. Not that I don't understand this product, but it does change between 10 and 12. And I want to make sure that I'm giving you the right number because it is different than other places that do these
Yes.
VIP
Yes.
tours. So you can, yeah, 12 counting. I'm thinking like counting myself. That's why I was thinking 11. But and it is, the people that you choose. It's your group. It's a private group. You get your private tour guide. And then something that I really like is if you're somebody that maybe only has another person or two that wants to do something, or you're looking at finances and you're thinking, man, I really want to do this, but it's a little more expensive. I love that they have the non-private tour because then you can take like your 2 or 3 people and they will put you with another group of people or a couple groups of people. And it's a great way to, they do a really good job, in my opinion, of matching the groups. So it's pretty much you're wanting to do the same thing. So you're not really going to miss out. I would say with the private tour, you're going to be able to do every single thing you want to do. With a non-private tour, most likely you're going to get to do everything, but it is good to know that, there may be a couple things that you don't get to do. But the big difference is just if it's just you and your group, or if you're going to have a group with other people, which can also be fun. We've done
Yeah.
it both. We've done it
Yep,
both.
we've done
And
it. We've done it
yeah.
both ways, and it worked out really, really well. And something else for people to think about when they're trying to decide between like a private or a non-private tour. If you're doing the non-private tour, there is a minimum age requirement. Right now, it currently sits at 5 years old. So if you're going with little kiddos and you're like, hey, we still want to do Universal and maximize our day, you'd have to do the private VIP tour. That's just because of things like ride height requirements and all that fun stuff. And then if your party is over 6 guests, you are not able to do a non-private tour because they don't want your party to overtake the group. So just something to bear in mind, right? That you have your private VIP tour. It is just your group with your tour guide. And then you have the non-private option where you're going to get to meet and spend time with other people. Amy Blades and I can both attest to the fact that I am not the most like social person out in public, but Amy is. So when we did our non-private tour, Amy was like chit-chatting with everybody else in the group, made friends with everybody. And like, I had polite conversation with people, but it was not awkward to not be like buddy with people either. So please don't feel like if you're like, I am not a very social person, I don't want a non-private, or yeah, if I don't want a non-private tour, it's okay. Like you don't have to be best friends with these people either.
And I think you would agree that, I mean, I kind of specifically remember there was 2 women with, I think they were like 3 kids, and they were great. 2 kids. They were amazing, super social. Those are the ones we talked to. Then there was another couple, husband and wife, that I don't even know if they said anything to anybody the whole time other than on the rides, but it wasn't awkward. Like it was cool.
Yeah.
Like if you were
they talked to the tour guide, but they didn't really talk or like,
and it was
they didn't really talk to the rest of us.
No.
It was great.
It
So
was great.
those are some things to keep in mind as you think about, whether or not you want to do a private or non-private VIP tour, but please know that both of those options exist. There are other like special tours, like a holiday tour, the HHN tour. We'll talk about those again on other podcast episodes and things like that, because for now, we're going to focus more on the private VIP tour experience. Amy and I did this back in September. We had a party of 6. Amy Blades and myself, and then 2 of her sons, one of their girlfriends, and then our wonderful friend Kayla. So the 6 of us were there. Lots of different personalities, lots of different things that we like. And our tour guide was amazing about helping create a really unique experience for us. So Amy, do you want to kick off and just tell us a little bit about like what are some of the attractions and experiences that are included with the private VIP tour that we got to do?
Yeah, well, nothing's off limits, which I like. And something else that I like is that if you wanted to ride the same ride over and over again, you could, ride the same ride over and over again. I got to do Velocicoaster for the first time, which I will say my husband was a little frustrated because I'll never, ever, ever ride this ride. And I'm scared of roller coasters, but we're on the VIP tour. Amy has gotten me all like, come on, we're going to do it together. You can do it. And I'm thinking, I'm seriously scared to death. we do the ride, which was awesome because I would never do it any other way because I couldn't wait in line. I'm too chicken. I've done it. It's phenomenal. I wouldn't do it again, but we were able to do Velocicoaster. We were able to do Hagrid's. We were able to do all of the Harry Potter. I mean, we were able to do to both the parks with the highlights from those parks, actually. Like, there was nothing that we didn't get to. We got to do
Hagrid's twice, right?
Twice.
Like, yeah. Twice. So, like, we got to do Hagrid's twice. Velocicoaster, we got to pick our row. So,
which was awesome.
Your sons got to sit front row without even having... I mean, we waited one cycle just for the front row, but like that was it. Like we didn't wait in line. That is
an incredible ride, Amy. But like I still can think about it. It takes me right back. It makes my heart just race when I think. I had my eyes closed the entire time, as you know, because if anyone's ever ridden a ride with Amy and I, that's an experience all in itself when we're together.
We can't show video clips of that on this podcast because the language is not appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I hate to admit it, but that is so true. But when I was in that, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I can do it. I can do it. Like I can open my eyes. The one time that I open my eyes is when we're coming up over, and it's like you literally feel like you're gonna like flop over. But it isn't. It really is it's a super.
We both
cool
did.
Ride,
like normally I don't open my eyes on rides either. And Amy and I talked about this after we got off of the ride. We both had that moment, and I think it was because we were in the front row. So on a roller coaster, like the front car, if it's coming over a big hill, it kind of has to make this like little pause for the back end to catch up. Well, it was a
pause, all right, because I was like...
We both thought that the ride broke, and it's at this moment where you look like you're going to drop in the water is really what it looks like.
And there's nothing like hearing
Amy's sons were like dying laughing.
Like, we're screaming. Like that's a normal thing. It doesn't phase either one of us. Like we're screaming. I literally, when that happened, and I mean, I don't do this very often. Not that it would bother Amy if it's because it's me, but I literally like grabbed a hold because I was scared.
And again, like, Amy's sons were sitting directly in front of us, and I thought they were going to pee their pants laughing. They thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, that was wrong. But another thing that this is on Kayla too, that little stinker. They got us on that Popeyes ride.
Oh, that was me.
The water.
That was all me. I thought it was you and Kayla and I did it together, but like yeah.
It was fun. I will say, doing it, I'm so glad. I mean, that is a memory. That is a memory that I'm going to have forever. I mean, it was a lot.
We were like, I was like crying, laughing on Popeyes because I'm like, Popeyes is not an intense roller coaster. It's not a coaster. It's a water ride.
No, but you will. But you just get drenched. So don't let anyone ever.
No, like you're going to be soaking wet. Like we didn't dry for almost 2 hours afterwards.
No, literally. Yeah. But it was super fun. I mean, we did everything. I mean, every ride that we wanted. I'm just in my mind thinking of like my favorite rides and favorite experiences there. And there was nothing that we didn't do. I don't think that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were able to do, I mean, that's what I like. Everything is included. Hogwarts Express. Of course, you do have to have, even in a VIP tour, you do have to have the park to park ticket.
Correct.
And that is something that I'm sure we'll talk about because it is different in Hollywood and in Orlando. With your VIP tour, you have to have your tickets ahead of time. They're not included in your the purchase of the VIP tour. But yeah, if you're going to do that and spend the money, you're going to spend the money on a park to park ticket for sure anyway, because that way you get the full experience. So
yeah,
I'm sure in time, and I know that in time because I've talked to we talked with Universal about this. Epic will definitely be included in time. I think with the opening of it and the way things are going to, they're really just being cautious in the way things are going to roll out.
Oh yeah.
But that'll be super exciting too. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do that, but I will tell you the minute you can do a VIP at Epic, that is something that we will do because that's going to be
100%.
I mean, I'm going to be able to get a sneak peek of Epic early, and then Amy, we are going to be able to be in the parks, but to really have that experience, I'm excited about that.
For sure. So, like Amy Blade said, right, every attraction experience that you want in the parks is really allowable. on a private VIP tour. If you want to just keep rewriting Velocicoaster, if you want to keep rewriting Velocicoaster in the front row, they'll let you do that. What was also really cool, kind of related to that, was while Amy, myself, and her two boys were riding Velocicoaster, we had two other people in the party that didn't want to ride the attraction, right? Our tour guide took them to a special spot so that they could watch us go down the big hill, and they actually have video evidence. I think we can I'll try to make sure that we have a little clip of that for you all to see, because it was amazing. And there's no sound. So that's why we can share that.
We can play it.
Yes. Yep. And we're going to link it on. So if you're watching this on YouTube, we're going to link Kayla's video in our comment section as well. So go check out her video so you can see everything that we did that day.
See it. Like, we can talk about it. And even thinking about it, the experience was incredible. Like, we do our best to talk to you about it, but that video really kind of shows the nuts and bolts of how it all worked and went together and what rides we picked. And it was a lot of fun.
It was amazing. It was such a good day. And that leads me into, shocker, one of my favorite conversations around it, food with the tour. So obviously we had lots of experiences and attractions. What blew me away was that I did not, until we started doing, because obviously I've been to Universal tons of times, right? And we all know theme park food is not cheap, and usually not the best quality.
It's not great.
However, what is amazing with the VIP tours, especially the private VIP tour, is that your meals are included during the experience. So we started the day, and it's kind of a basic continental breakfast. We
did it in Hollywood too, and I remember that's when we were both kind of like, wow. And then when we did it again in Orlando, it was even elevated, and we were like, holy mackerel. But
yes,
I would say it's continental, but I mean, it was plenty for breakfast. I mean, I don't personally like to eat a ton before we're going to go do those rides, but everybody was full, I think.
It was good. It was very nice. I mean, they even had things like different bakery items, like croissants. They had eggs, bacon,
lots of fruit,
different beverages, fruit, that kind of stuff for you, that you could get, and you could kind of take your time. And then when you were ready for your tour to start, your tour guide would be there and you'd go off. So that was the first piece of it that already had me like, okay, this is great. And then your lunch,
surprising. Good, but surprising.
Your lunch is included with the VIP tour. And here's the amazing part is that you can pick almost any, there's a couple that are off limits, but almost any restaurant. But the couple ones that are off limits are really over at the resorts, and it wouldn't be worth your time to go to them anyway.
So we did Mythos, right?
Yeah, we did Mythos, which is one of the most popular dining reservations to get in Universal Orlando. Like, when I have clients go, I'm like, you don't need a lot of dining reservations at Universal, but if you want to eat there, you have to have a reservation because it's always sold out. And we decided we didn't decide where we were going to have lunch until almost 11:30. And we sat down at our table for lunch at about 12:30. I think is what it was.
They got us right away. And we were all together. We were all able to sit together.
We were able to sit together.
The food, I remember we had appetizers.
Yep.
We had a main.
Everybody gets a main course, a beverage, and a dessert. And then for every 2 people, you get an appetizer to share between the 2. So we had 6 people. So we got to pick really 3 appetizers to have at the table, which was absolutely awesome.
It's delicious too, like for theme park food. I mean, I've eaten there before, but it's definitely kind of one of those things I forget about. And I was glad that we did that when we went because it was really good.
Yeah.
I thought.
And I will say sometimes, right? So a place like Mythos is a sit-down restaurant. So it does take some time out of your tour because that counts. You're on the clock technically. If you don't want to use that time for a sit-down restaurant, you can use it at a quick service restaurant. And again, like your tour guide will help you make sure that you get your food ordered, find your table, all that good stuff. Like they take such great care of you. And again, the food is included. But the other more surprising thing for me, like I knew that because obviously I've read the terms and conditions. I knew lunch was included, but dinner being included, and it does not need to happen during your tour time, right?
That was something that I thought that was incredible. And I mean, that was another meal that was delicious, but that they don't make you take it out of your time. They gave us these like vouchers.
Yep.
And basically go wherever you want, use the vouchers. And we did. And I couldn't believe that because I thought we would have to do it. I'm like, that's unbelievable that we had all 3 meals for the day that were included in that tour. And we were still able to do everything that we wanted to do in the tour.
Yep.
And that's how we chose to finish our night, was to have dinner. And then we took, left for the day.
And it was really good food. We ate at Big Fire, which was in City Walk, which I don't think any of us had eaten there before, right?
No, I had not. Chucky had eaten there, but we had not.
Yep. So, I mean, I think most of us got their steak dinner, which starts at $42 a person. And that was included. That was included with our tour. So
and it was good.
It was a delicious steak. The s'mores, you get to make a s'mores thing at your table. That was super fun. That was such a great experience. So all of that is included with your tour. The food alone that we ate that day,
and if you add up how much
was
that cost,
hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
I keep telling my husband, we need to do this tour again because it was
so good.
Everything that's included, you can just have fun and take time. And if you have people that love roller coasters and you have some that don't, or I just feel like they did such an awesome job of, for me, putting, I can't do the spinny stuff. So they did a really good job of kind of setting me somewhere, and everyone could do, and I just still felt included in the tour. It was really good.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Well, and are you willing to share a little bit, Amy? You were in a wheelchair for part of that day because of your back issues and things like that.
Correct.
How did that feel like it was still a good experience for you? Even
that's a really good point, because that's something that sometimes people will see videos from things that we do. I mean, there are times that I'll have to be in a wheelchair depending. It's all dependent on my back from a multi-level fusion I had when I was 25. And there are sometimes I can go, and I'm great. And then there are other times I have to be in the wheelchair, which is hard sometimes because I feel like, I'm letting everybody down, but it didn't seem like that whatsoever. I was able to do everything that I wanted to do. The tour guide had offered to push many times, but between Amy and my sons, they were like, no, we've got it, which I appreciated, but it didn't limit anything that I wanted to do. I was able to get on the things that I could do and just sat in the wheelchair and waited for everybody if there was something that I didn't. But I do feel like it's accessible to, there was nothing I couldn't go do and go watch, and they did a really good job of making sure that I even could see what everybody else was doing if I couldn't experience it. So I don't know if that's what you're
well, and I even felt like he asked you a lot of the time, right? So obviously sometimes when someone's in a wheelchair, they might not be able to get up and walk. And our tour guide was really good about asking you or, us, that it was hey, are you comfortable pushing her through this? Or asking you hey, how long can you stand up? It's going to take us 10 minutes to get from here to there. How do you feel with that? Those kinds of things. And he would help move the wheelchair from point A to point B and some of that really kind of stuff.
And
it was really nice.
And I want to say too, they were amazing about that as well, because we had gotten there and got checked in, and that was when I was kind of trying to decide what I was going to do. And I think not that I have to talk to everybody about that, but I always feel like I'm that's my own thing. I feel like I'm slowing everyone else down. And I said, Amy, I don't know. She goes, just get it. I think that way you've got it. And they took care of that for me. I didn't have to do anything. They went and I just said, more than happy to pay for the wheelchair. And they were excellent. I mean, no issue whatsoever. And we had it the entire day. And I'm glad that we did, because I was able to enjoy the whole day, actually. I mean, as soon as we finished, we kind of joke about this sometimes, but also we talk about the core memories. You'll hear us say that sometimes on the podcast, because it's something that we talk about as an agency a lot. I always feel because I think it's kind of fun that we have the responsibility to help facilitate core memories for other people. So when we have them together, I cherish that. 100%. But that day in itself, what it really was,
it truly was.
All said, this is one of the best days we'd ever had in a park. Everything just happened to go our way. The weather was not too hot. It wasn't cold. It was absolutely beautiful. The tour guide was amazing. Everybody got input on what it is they wanted to do. Everybody's food was good. The entire day, in just the way that it was smooth and it worked out, there were no kinks. It was a really wonderful experience that, especially since we did that and we talk about it, and we had Kayla do the video. We sponsored her coming so that she could do a video for Goofy Getaways. And
Absolutely.
I think people seeing that has definitely piqued interest. And it's something that we really, as an agency, have started to sell more. I mean, because it's a service, a product that we're selling. But I just say to somebody, if they have the extra, you're not going to be disappointed just with everything that
Yes.
that it entails. So it was, yeah, for me, it was definitely
Yeah.
beneficial. I would do it again for sure.
Well, and it's one of those things, I'm sure you get clients that say this to you too, but my clients will be like, can't you just come with us to the parks? And in my opinion, like, yes, I would
Sure,
absolutely
we'll be
love that. But truthfully, if you're looking for like the best of the best experience,
Yeah.
this tour is what it is. Like
Yes.
this, sorry, but this is even better than me being in the park with you. It
And they
truly is,
know
because like they know
the
all the
ins and
details. They can
outs.
tell you like background stories of different things. They take you
Which
behind the
I love.
scenes. Like, so Amy, do you mind sharing like a couple of the behind the scenes, like special things that we got to see that people only get to see when they're on a VIP tour?
Well, I love actually the detail too that goes into explaining different things, whether you're walking, like where on like Hollywood Boulevard, what I mean, but you're doing all of like the New York, and I love the whole Jaws. Like he went into this whole thing about Jaws and the movie about Jaws and how they used to use that a long time ago. Like they actually, it was a movie. I mean, they would use it for a movie set.
Yes. So like some of the cool behind the scenes things that are only part of the VIP tours in Orlando are things like we got to go down to the floor on the MIB ride. So the
That
Men
was
in
cool.
Black ride. There's all kinds of cool Easter eggs in there. And like our tour guide took our photo down there, all that kind of fun stuff. And then
That was a lot
going
of fun.
underneath the Mummy roller coaster was
okay. Oh yeah.
so cool.
That's actually
so
a
cool.
lot of fun. Yeah. And you do not realize how fast
Yes.
that ride goes until you're standing under it.
Or how hot the fire is that's in there. You're like,
or
oh
the
my
way you're
gosh.
just standing there and it flumps out at you and you feel
Yep.
like you're gonna scare the crap out of you.
So like those were a couple cool things that, and your tour guide,
Yes.
you don't have to do those on your tour. We just specifically asked our guide, we were like, we want to see things that like we couldn't be able, like we wouldn't be able to do as a normal everyday guest because we've been everyday guests. So those were a couple of the things. The other one that was really cool that like kicked off our day early on was going the secret entrance for Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey.
Yes.
None of us actually did. Some of us write it. I think a couple people wrote it, but
I
like
didn't, because
well,
people
some
did,
of us,
yes.
a group of us were like, okay. Pro tip: if you have any type of motion sickness, please don't ride Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey.
And that's us being
being fully transparent with you.
Yeah.
However, that is one of the most impressive and really detailed ride queues that I've ever seen in my entire life. Again, I've been to lots of theme parks. And so we had told our tour guide that it was like, oh, we really want to see the queue. And a couple people wanted to ride, but like most of our group was sitting that one out. Yeah. And he was like, okay, well, like, because your tour guide can literally take you completely past the queue. Like you are not going to walk through any ride queues unless you specifically ask them to. And so he was like, well, do you want to see some of the details still? I was like, yes. And he took us literally through an elevator, through a back door.
In the movie. I felt like we were in the movie.
It was just the coolest thing.
Like, we were like at
amazing.
Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And the staircases. And so we got to go through this private entrance and people were looking at us like we were celebrities.
And that was like our second ride. Because we had done our 2 rounds on Hagrid's and then that's where we went next. And I was just like, this is the best day ever. Like that was just, and that's how everything felt as we were going through stuff.
The whole time.
The whole day. It was just like, this is the best day ever. This is the best day ever. This is so cool. And even like other little things that happened during the day were, I just remember us walking out of breakfast, right? We're getting ready to start the tour. And our tour guide turned to us and said, all right, like, let's chat about what you want to do because they are going to make that day super personalized to you. Yes. And it was, our poor tour guide was a good sport because we have all already technically done the rides, right? So it's not like we're sitting there like, oh my gosh, I have to ride this because I've never done it. We were a little bit more of a like, okay, we want to do X, Y, and Z, but like, we're game for whatever. And he was a great sport about it, but he actually like, we listed some things that we wanted to see and to do. He pulls out a weather app and goes, it looks like there's a slight chance of rain this afternoon. So let's start here. So we went over to Islands. We were in Universal Studios, Florida. He's like, let's go over to Islands of Adventure. Let's go spend the morning there because there's no chance of rain in the morning. If you know anything about Florida weather, there's a good chance of rain most of the time. And we got lucky. It didn't rain at all that day. But the fact that like when we're talking about our day and he's pulling up a weather app to decide what route to take us through the park.
Right. To
I was
set
like,
the path for the entire day.
That's amazing. Like just that's the elite level that these
the
team
forward
members
thinking.
provide. Like they are very much, they're going to do everything they can to make sure that everything you want to accomplish during your day happens.
You're able
and
to.
So like, and they'll plan your day around that. And it was just, it made me so happy.
No, it was so nice that we didn't have, because that's what we do, right? And we plan for everybody all the time, which is what we want to do. But how many times I say it to you all the time? I'm my own worst travel agent.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes it's like, man, I should hire one of you to do my trip because I'm not paying attention to it because I'm, paying attention to everything else. And when you do that tour, you basically tell them this is what we like. And then we don't think about anything other than each thing that we're doing.
Yep. You don't have to sit there buried in your phone looking at ride wait times. You don't have to try to decide. I mean, like, honestly, the hardest decision is telling them which rides you want to do, which you can let them know in advance, and then deciding where you want to eat. Like that's, and your guide will also give you recommendations of where to eat, to be quite honest. So,
and we also got to cut the line for butterbeer, which was a huge thing. If you like butterbeer, like I do, but I hate waiting in the line. That was part of it.
And you get a discount. You get a discount on it.
You do get a discount.
With your VIP lanyard, they'll be able to scan your lanyard. And there's, I want to say it's like a 10% discount code. Please know that amount may change. But hey, every little bit helps.
There's photos that are included.
Correct. Yep. So for your VIP tour day, when that tour day happens, you get your photos from that day, including like your ride photos, which will include a couple of photos of some of our ride photos on here. And then it's valid for the next 3 days after that point.
Nice.
So like that's amazing too. I'm also going to say back to the butterbeer thing. Our tour guide, so we rode our Harry Potter rides and it was like, okay, it's time for a snack. Let's get some butterbeer. So we got our butterbeer and we're all like taking pictures over in front of the Hogwarts castle. And our tour guide was taking our photos for us. And then also like took a super amazing, he asked me, right? He was like, hey, can I take your phone and take a photo for you? And I was like, yes, please. Like took a beautiful artistic photo of my butterbeer with
one of
the castle behind
pictures.
It. And gave us tips of so obviously he knew we were travel agents and recording for, marketing purposes. And he's like, let's go here and get this photo. Let's go here and do that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like absolutely.
We just keep
love
you
it.
a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's good to say, like, as we're talking about this guide and we're talking about, because I know we'll talk about price point too, something to remember. And I really like to talk about this because your tour guides get paid an hourly rate, no matter where you're at park-wise, the destinations that we talk about the most. And gratuity is not included. So that is something to always keep in mind. And I mean, in my mind, I know what it is that I want to pay if you're with a group, so you can either split it up or how you're going to do it. But all of those extra little things that they do, it's not because they're getting paid extra to do it. So I always like to just make sure and thank them. And gratuity is the best way to do that, I think. So just remembering a little something extra for them goes a long way for sure.
Absolutely. And then, again, if your tour guide was amazing, making sure that Universal knows, you can give them a team member compliment type of a scenario. And if you're not sure how to do that, just reach out to your travel agent who booked your VIP tour, and we can make sure that the right people know that it's like, oh my gosh, Logan was the best tour guide ever.
We so can many also, times where you're always thinking of the things that didn't go right, right? That's in general. I feel like people complain about everything that's not right. I always try to make sure if it's a good experience. And we did send an email on behalf of the agency, actually, because he was incredible. And that's a good point to remember, that you need to give cast compliments, because those go even further, I'm sure, for them. So
yes. Yeah. So definitely, tip your guide, and then offer compliments and give them feedback. If there's something that you're like, hey, I didn't love this flow of this, give them that feedback at the end of the day, because that's how they make the tour better for the next family too. Or if you go back and tour with them again later on, like, they're probably going to remember that about you, which is cool too. And another little note on that is that guides can technically be requested, can't be guaranteed, but again, like your travel agent, we can go, okay, like Logan was our tour guide, and I'm like, that's who I loved. Like, I could request someone for you, or Jane or whoever. So that's the other nice thing, is that you can request tour guides, and they're not going to like force that person to work if it's their their day off.
But there can also
really
get,
cool.
options. And when you're somebody that is able to choose those experiences, and you do those, and you have done them, and you find a guide that works better for your family, or for the type of tour you like to do, I like that that's an option, that you can choose somebody, because that's, we always talk about, relationships and building relationships. And let's talk about relationships when you're planning somebody's trip. Like, you're building a relationship so you can get to know them, so you can give them the best experience.
Exactly.
And I think they do a good job with that as the guides.
And getting to know, like, which guide is really good with families with little kids, which guide is going to be, again, all the guides are amazing. Like, I promise you're not going to be disappointed no matter who you get. But at the same time, it's like, and we can help you kind of figure out some of those pieces too. Like, that's what's amazing about our Goofy Getaways travel consultant team, is that many of us have had experiences in different guides and things like that. And so we can help you find the right guide for your day as well too. So
personalities are all different, and personalities matter, right? So
for sure.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about it, because people love to ask the question. They're like, how much does it cost? So like, do you want to share? Do we want to go straight out and just say, like,
I think, and sometimes it depends on busy season, depends. I mean, it really kind of, it truly depends how much it's going to be. Basically it goes by the hour is how you're charged, even though you have to do it for an extended amount of time. Like, there's, instead of giving you that flat rate, I always wonder why they do that, because it sounds like it's less by the hour. This is what you pay by the hour, but you can only go this much. But I mean, and we can both talk about it, what we think, Amy. I mean, I think it can be, because it's also based on per person. I mean, it can be anywhere from about $5,000 for the day to $10,000 for the day. I would
even higher than that. I would think, like,
even higher.
Because
depending when you're going, depending how long it is. I mean, because you can extend.
Yeah, and you can get probably not so much anymore, like earlier. Like,
yes,
if you're going right now, you could probably get the tour for around like $3,500, $4,000 for a day, close to it. So here's the thing to know with a VIP, with a private VIP tour, is that when you're booking your private VIP tour, so remember we said that you can have up to 12 guests with your guide. However, there's kind of a flat rate for the tour initially. That is for you and up to 5 guests. As soon as you add guest number 6, there's an additional fee. So if I have guest 6, 7, 8, each of those additional guests have a fee attached to them. It's not the same like price as this, right? So that's kind of where it starts to go upwards from there, depending on how many people. Which is
why, like, I don't ever mind giving people some, just so that they in their mind can think, man, I don't mind doing that, but I hate giving them, because it just depends on a lot of things.
It changes by date. It changes by some of those factors. If you have more than 12 people in your party, you can still do a private VIP tour. You would just need to book 2 guides in that scenario, right? So you'll have the price for the initial 5 plus extra prices for, you would basically pay for your 2 5s and then however many additional people added on from there. So this is why it's hard for people just be like, well, what's the cost? And it's like, without knowing your exact party size, the ages in your party, the date that you want to go, all of those factors, we can't just give you like here's a magic number. So that part does make it a little bit harder to give an exact number, but we both feel like it's a very valuable experience too.
100%. And it's something that you can split with other people too. Like when you're doing it with your family, that's one thing. But I mean, and Amy and I we travel quite a bit together, and we like to travel the same way. I mean, we do like to travel upscale stuff too, but something that I think we're both really good at is that we do split almost everything. And so I think for both of us, it actually makes it a little more, not attainable, but it makes it a little easier when you're looking at doing things. So if you have 5 people that you can split it with, then that makes up, obviously when we do a tour and I have all of my kids and you're by yourself, I mean, for crying out loud, we're not, but
I was like, you don't make me pay for your kids. Thank you.
No, I don't. You're all, I mean, she probably would, but
I probably would.
No, I know you would. But in all honesty, like if you do have people like that you're talking about traveling, or you have friends or a girls trip or whatever, just remember that you can split the cost sometimes too. And that does help. I mean, when you see that initial sticker shock, it can be expensive, but think about what you're getting for it and what your experience is going to be.
Yes. So remember, you're going to have your own tour guide for the entire day while you're there. We went slow for us. Like,
oh yeah.
Like it was a very relaxed pace
tour
through the tour, through the parks. We did 17 attractions and
he actually said that to us. I remember saying like he just thought we were a super cool group anyway, but just kind of we knew what we wanted, but we were laid back because we knew we were going to do it. Yeah. But it was just great.
Yeah, it was great. Like, so we got 17 attractions.
3 meals.
We had 3 meals, and again, didn't feel rushed at all.
No.
We had absolutely amazing service.
Not even at lunch. Like I didn't feel like he rushed us there. He kind of came back just a couple times to check on us, saying, "Hey, not rushing you at all, just letting you know where we are with time." And
also,
like, cool.
Pro tip, learn from our mistake. We did not know at the time that we sat down to have lunch, you can invite your tour guide to have lunch with you. Yes, so if you're getting along with them, they can have lunch with you and their meal is included for them in that case. But if you don't invite them, they can't. They're not allowed to say anything to you about that.
Yeah,
so
they can't say, "Hey, you guys are super cool. I'd like to have lunch with you." So
so
remember that. Yeah,
remember that in the future. If you're getting along, like, don't feel obligated. You are not required to invite them to come to lunch with you. However, if you're getting along with your tour guide and you want to spend more time with them and you want to hear more stories about behind the scenes in the parks or other details, like, they will 100% have lunch with you. You just have to technically invite them. So just fun little.
That's good. I'm glad that you said that because I would have forgot to mention that.
I hate that we didn't know that in advance, because I'm like, I would have sat and talked to Logan for another hour and a half
super cool.
at our lunch.
Yeah. Just everything in the insight that they can give you on helping your clients too. He was really great. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Excellent. I mean, it was definitely something that I want to do again, and it's given me a lot of insight for clients. Yep. Especially if you're kind of trying to think about how many days you want to go or where you want to save. I mean, you could cut back on like the length of the ticket and put that into the VIP tour. Like there are definitely ways that we can help you look at it so that it is feasible for you. It's not completely out of reach.
For sure. And what could be a cool experience for you would be like, put a VIP tour at the very beginning of your trip. Make sure that you hit your like really big must-dos at the beginning, and then you get the photo package for the rest of your trip. Nice. For another 3 days, I should say, not necessarily the rest of your trip, depends on how long you're there, but another 3 days. And then that way you can just like spend your time, go back and re-hit the things that you really wanted to redo, or hit the maybe 2 or 3 things that you were like, oh, it's not worth doing it on the tour. Like we didn't do anything Cat in the Hat related on our tour.
We didn't do anything real for littles because we didn't have littles with us. So,
and we'd all done most of those attractions before too, right? So we got to look at our tour from a different place, but we rode Hagrid's twice on our tour. So I'm sorry, I'll skip Cat in the Hat to ride. Well, I didn't ride Hagrid's twice because, but
And if I'm not mistaken, Amy, you and I did not ride Velocicoaster twice, but my boys did. They got to ride that twice.
Did they ride twice?
Or was it just...
I think he offered.
Okay,
I know he
no,
offered,
I'm good. But
I think they decided not to ride it twice.
Okay, but I do know that you're right. He did at least offer, because that was something that they weren't afraid to let us do, for sure.
Yes, and another, like, Amy and I actually stepped out from the tour briefly. We were actually the next day had a meeting thing for Universal, so we stepped out of the tour briefly to go pick up some of our credentials. And the others just went and kept riding rides, and we met back up with them, like, no problem. It was super easy. So I feel like even if you're somebody that's like touring and you've got a little and you're like, hey, one of us might need to like take the little back to lay down for a few minutes, you could do that and then pop back into your tour, because that's your guide for the day. You can't do that on the non-private tour option, but you could on the private tour.
Absolutely.
So,
because we did. It worked.
Yeah. Lots of flexibility there. Again, they're just there to make your day as magical as possible. Like,
and it is. Yeah.
We want to give you every tool that we possibly can, but we can't be there holding your hand the whole time.
No.
And we certainly can't take you behind the scenes, but they can.
No, that either. We can give you tips, but yeah, I'm ready to talk about our all in.
Amy's all in time. Just in case, if you're new here listening to this episode for the first time and you're like, what on earth is Amy's All In? This is where the Amy's decide to share with you something that we are all in about, usually related to whatever the topic is that we're discussing this day. So, absolute shocker, we're going to talk about something that we're all in about related to this Universal Orlando VIP tour, but we're going to flip this one just a little bit because we actually want to share with you our favorite memory or experience that happened during this VIP tour. Because we both told you, like, this was one of our best days in the theme park ever, right? So we want to share with you each, like, what our favorite memory was from that day. Because I could talk to you for hours about the whole day, how amazing it was.
I was all in on a lot of things. So, yes. And when Amy's like, okay, you got to narrow it down, and I can do that. But because... Yeah, there's a lot that I was all in on for that entire day. But so what was your favorite memory?
Okay, so my favorite memory was when we were riding the Popeyes ride, to be quite honest. Like, I just could not stop laughing. It was, so Amy's son Josh was on the ride, and it felt like every time the boat would turn, poor Josh would just end up under the most direct complete waterfall, and he just sat there and took it. Like,
he was a good sport.
He was such a good sport about the whole thing.
A good sport.
And it was just so much fun. And then the fact that, like, we all get off the ride and we're trying to, like, squeeze out our clothes, and they're dripping wet. And her other son, Gavin, is sitting there looking. Gavin did not ride the ride because Gavin does not like water rides. Very, very fair. But Gavin is sitting there looking at all of us like, you are completely insane.
This is why I did not ride this ride.
So that whole, like, Popeye experience was probably my, like, again, there were so many good memories from the day, but, like, that was probably my favorite piece of the day.
That was good. Okay. And I would say, believe this might surprise you, my favorite part of the day. I have ridden Hagrid's before. It had been several years since I rode it. So I rode it, and I forgot the things that it does that we won't spoil, but it does things different than other rides. And that's another one that we couldn't record because every time there was like a drop or a turn or a spin or something, and I'd be like, I didn't remember that one. Or no, wait a minute. I don't remember that happening. I mean, and I just remember that was so much fun just doing it. But even in the middle of doing it, I'm thinking to myself, why did I do this? I didn't remember that part. But then getting off and just the laughing. I remember laughing so hard that I was crying just because you and I are funny on those rides. Not like we do it intentionally. It's just, it is what it is. But that was probably my favorite thing, was that ride and just how I even felt afterwards. And it was funny. And I really did forget some of that stuff. And I remember being like, I wouldn't have written this. I would have remembered this part. Or I'm like, I don't think that was working the last time that I wrote this because I didn't remember that. But it was a
I
lot of fun. The
literally, like, as
laughs
we
and
were getting ready to get on Hagrid's, you were like, I'm so excited to ride this. And I remember turning to Kayla, because Kayla and I were going to sit together on the ride. And I turned to Kayla and I was like, has she ridden this before? Does she know what's coming? Because again, Amy and I ride roller coasters a lot. And I was like, she's really this excited for this ride? Like, I know what's coming. Does she remember? Like,
no.
And then we get off the ride and our tour guide immediately comes up to us and goes, who wants to ride again? And Amy and I are both like, we're out.
Nope.
The rest of the group rode again, but we were both like, no, we're done. We're done.
Nope. That was
one
a
time.
little too much for me.
It's lovely. It's magical, but now we're done.
That was fun. It was fun, though. That really was a really great, just the memory, because I can think about that at each ride, but that one was so funny because I really did not remember. And I remember thinking, what the heck? And it was fun, but hey, we had good all-ins and they were different.
We did. And it was good, right? And we had to flip the all-in because the truth of the matter is we're both all in on the private VIP tour at Universal Orlando, if you can't tell from this episode. And so instead we decided we'd just share a fun all-in memory for you because hopefully you want to go to Universal Orlando and make these type of memories and have an all-in experience with your family. Make core memories like Amy was talking about. So Amy, if somebody wants to do that, how do they do that with Goofy Getaways?
We'd love to have them reach out to us. Remember, our services are complimentary. I never get tired of saying it, so hopefully you don't get tired of hearing it. But when you book a package with us, our services are included. Top-notch services, too. You can reach out to us at our website, which is www.goofygetaways.com. You can also reach out to us on our Instagram or on Facebook, our social media handles, if you will. I know that those will all be included so that you can see them right somewhere. And you can also call the agency, which the number is listed on our website as well. But you can also, we have all of these ways to contact us, so there's no reason to say you can't. You can email info@goofygetaways.com and we will match you with an agent that you can work with, or if there's someone that you know that you want to work with, let us know and we'll make that happen too. So lots of ways to help us help you. You just got to let us know you need the help.
100%. And I do want to make a note. So we are recording this. It is technically the end of January at the time that we're recording this. By the time you all see this, it will be early February. At this point in time that we are recording the episode, VIP tours at Universal Orlando are only able to be booked through the end of April of 2025 at the moment because we're waiting for them to open up everything with all the details with Epic. So if you are interested in a VIP tour at Universal Orlando and it's after April, still get in touch with us. We would love to help get the rest of your trip details booked so that we can lock in your hotel, your park tickets. Because park tickets are not included.
A wait list for people right now.
Yep,
it's not even considered a wait, but like a list to make sure that as soon as they open.
Exactly. So we as travel consultants, we stay up to date on all of the information. So as soon as we know that VIP tours are going on sale, we're going to be reaching out directly to our clients. So if you think that you are interested in this and you're going to want pricing, let's get the rest of your trip booked now and get you on one of our agents like must contact list so that the moment VIP tours go on sale, we can help you get them. We mentioned Epic Universe. I'm not going to lie. Like, yes, we know that they're going to have VIP tours. I would be surprised if the VIP tours don't sell out at Epic.
Oh, I think that they absolutely
I really think that they will.
Absolutely, I agree.
So we want to make sure that you don't get left out in the cold. Like, let us help you get these VIP tours booked. So reach out to us.
I wanted to mention too, and Amy, you always do a really good job reminding people of this, but especially as this is like our 8th podcast and we are starting to get like some followers that aren't, just like our friends and family, let's be honest, because that's what we are. We want to know what it is that you guys want to hear about. So send us some messages or post them because we really, between the two of us, between traveling and the type of travel we do and with the agents that we have, there's really nothing travel-wise, that's off off limits. So we want to be able to give you what it is that you want to hear about. So make sure and let us know, because we, as much as Amy and I like to do the podcast, we're doing it to try to get more information to you so you're more comfortable with the destinations that we're talking about. It's nothing for us to be on a Zoom for an hour during the day, which we talk about all of these things. So it's kind of fun to feel like we have people that are included in that. So let us know what it is that you want to hear about, because we're open to getting you the information from whatever destination that it is that you want to hear about. So
absolutely. Nothing is off limits. And obviously Amy and I will shoot straight with you. Like we're going to be really honest and transparent. What we like, what we don't like, what we think is a good idea, what we think isn't worth it. So if there's anything that you want to hear about, just let us know. Our next podcast episode is going to be our Disney fantasy,
which I'm super excited about, because we'll be sailing together. So that'll be fun.
We're so excited. Yeah. So Goofy Getaways is doing a love cruise this February. We are sailing on the Disney Fantasy, and we are going to be visiting both of Disney's private island locations, so Castaway Key and Lookout Key. We're so excited, and Amy and I are literally going to get off the ship and record a podcast episode to get out to you of all of our thoughts, all of our feedback. So if you have questions that you would like us to make sure that we answer on that episode, let us know.
We're super excited to share this cruise with you too, because it is celebrate love, and I personally believe love who you love, and so that was the big thing with our cruise, is just wanting people to feel like come and cruise with us with the people that you love the most, no matter what that looks like for you. And so we're super excited to be able to do that with friends, family, and clients from Goofy Getaways. So it'll be a fun one.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
So again, like, save, share, comment, post, all the things, so that we can deliver even more content to you, and let us know what you want to hear most.
Yeah.
Besides just us chit-chatting at you.
Yeah. I mean, we are kind of fun to chit-chat, but so take all of those things that we just said and do them. Reach out to us. And other than that, have a fantastic couple weeks until we talk to you again. But until then, we will see ya
real soon.
If you liked today's episode of the Goofy Getaways podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember to follow Goofy Getaways on social media so we can lead you to the magic.